All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Boston coming at you with another Photoshop tutorial for the Harley CTLA program. It is October, Halloween time, and this one's for our beginner class. We're going to do a little type, um, Photoshop type effect that we're going to do today. It's not, it really can be whatever you want it to be, but let's take a look at what I've got so far. Let's put this back up there. Boom. And there you go. That's what we got. Um, this is actually really easy. Use basically it's all layer styles. If you haven't used layer styles before, you'll see them. They're extremely easy. All you're doing is clicking on buttons, checking off stuff and modifying the settings for it. So we're gonna go ahead and get started here. We're gonna make a new file new. We're gonna do, we could do 600 by 800 or 800 by 600, 72 pixels per inch. Make sure your width and your height are set to pixels. Um, Resolution 72 pixels per inch. Color mode is gonna be RGB color because it's not something we're gonna print. Um, Background contents can be white. It really doesn't matter. All right, let's go ahead and hit OK. Boom, we've got a new document. Now, what we're gonna do is when you start Photoshop, you normally end up with a layer that says background and it's normally locked. Okay, Photoshop's not gonna there's a lot of stuff that Photoshop won't let you do to a background layer. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna unlock that layer. We're gonna change this from being a background layer. A couple ways we can do this. We can just change the name of it, and when you change the name of a background layer, it's gonna unlock it for you and make it a regular layer. There's a couple ways you can do it. Just double click on the word background, and it'll come up. You can name it if you want or whatever. Um, if not, just hit OK. No longer now. Notice it no longer says background. Doesn't have a lock. That's one way. I'm gonna undo that. Command Z. I could also, since I'm using the Mac, if I hold down Control and click on that layer, it'll give me layer from background. If I click that, it'll do this, even the same thing. Layer 0. Boom. Okay. What I am going to be doing on this layer is I'm going to be making a background. So instead of naming it background, I'm just going to name it BG for background. Easy enough. All right. And I am going to add what are known as layer styles. Now, layer styles can be added to multiple things. You can add it to text, or you can add it to as you see, I just have a blank white background. So I'm going to go into my layer styles. The easiest way I found, the easiest and quickest way I found to get to layer styles is just double click on the right hand side of the layer you want to apply it to. Go right on the right side and double click. It's going to pull up your layer style dialog box. Now there's other ways you can do it. You can go down here to the bottom of the layers panel or palette, and the FX symbol is add a layer style. You can click on that, choose the one that you want, or you can just hit blending options, pulls up the same thing. All right, multiple ways. You can also get it from the layers menu. It's grayed out because I've already got it open. But anyway, in our layer styles, we are going to add a couple different layer styles. Now, the way the layer style window is set up is there's two sections. You've got this side over here, which I normally call your categories. And then you have here, you have the category options in the middle. So the category we're first going to deal with is inner glow. So come over here, you're going to click on inner glow. Now, the weird thing with layer styles is you have to be careful on where you click. If you just click inner glow, the checkbox, you'll apply an inner glow, but notice nothing in my options changed. Okay, I'm going to get rid of that. If I want to see the inner glow options where I can change what actually is going on, I have to actually click on the actual word inner glow. If I click on it, it checks it off for me, but now I also have access to the inner glow options. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change my blend mode for my inner glow from screen is what it defaults to. I'm gonna change it to linear burn. There it is. All right. Take my opacity. I'm gonna drag it down somewhere around the 20s, mid-20s, somewhere around there. Um, my noise is already at 0. I'm going to keep it there. My color, I don't want it to be a yellow. I'm going to change it to pure black. All right, drag down to this corner. The hex code for it is 6 zeros. You can do that, hit OK. Under elements, our technique is softer. That's fine. Edge, we can leave that there. Choke at 0. Our size, we're going to drag that up. All right, and as you can see, as I move that, you see there's a dark rim around the edges. All right, that is my outer glow, and it's black because I set my color to black. I'm going to set it, I don't know, 80, 81, somewhere around there. My contour, I'm going to leave it the same. My range, I'm actually going to turn up all the way, and I'm gonna click on my anti-alias. I can never pronounce that. It smooths your edges. Check that off. My jitter, I'm gonna leave it at 0. All right, that is our first thing. After that, we are going to add another layer style. Layer styles can be piled on top of each other and applied at the same time. The next one I'm gonna do is pattern overlay. All right, so I'm gonna click on the actual word pattern overlay, and you see it gives me this pattern. Now, the settings I'm gonna use for this, you can copy mine if you're one of my students. You can copy mine for now, that's fine. But in the end, I want you to go back and I want you to change this stuff. It doesn't help you to learn just to copy somebody else. You can go on, there's millions of Photoshop tutorials online. There's no point in just copying people and saying, oh wow, this looks awesome. Big deal. Someone else has already done it. All right. There's nothing wrong with doing it exactly as them to learn the concepts, but in the end, you want to make that your own. All right. So copy me for now, but I do want you to go back and change this if you copy me. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to my pattern. If you hit the drop down button next to the image, you'll see patterns. Now, these patterns here, every computer has different patterns. All right, Photoshop comes with some stock stuff. To see the different patterns that you have this options button right over here at the top right. If you click it, it gives you a menu of options. I'm gonna go to reset patterns, and append means you're gonna add those patterns to what's already here, and OK is gonna get rid of these patterns and put in the other one. So I'm gonna hit OK. These are the stock patterns that come with Photoshop. All right, now that normally load as your defaults. There are other patterns in here that come with Photoshop. You just have to play around with them and find the ones that you want. I have rock patterns. I don't know if that was one that came with it or not. I've added a few, but it doesn't really matter. You can use anything that's in there. Just look through them and see what you got. There's all kinds of stuff, and with what we're doing, you can choose anything you want, really. I've kind of found that you don't want it. To me, the outcome looks better if you use something that doesn't have a lot of white. So you could grab something. What do I have? Patterns 2. Let's see what we got here. Something that might work. Anything that has some texture really is what you're looking for. I think I had a decent one. I think I used a rock pattern from the first one. No, maybe I didn't. Okay, so I'm just gonna do grayscale paper. What's that? Look at this. I don't even remember. I was thinking, ooh, that one might be kind of cool. But yeah, it really doesn't matter which one you use. I'm gonna use that one because I have it. Like I said, use whatever you got. All right. My scale, I'm gonna leave it at 100. Link with layer, yeah, that's fine. All right. The next thing I'm gonna add is a satin. So click on the word satin, and I'm gonna change my blending mode to color burn. All right, that got really dark. Make sure my color, I'm gonna set it at pure black. Opacity, I'm gonna do, go kind of low so I can get some detail back. I'm sitting around 11. All right, do whatever you think looks good. I'll leave my angle at 19. My distance, I'm gonna pull back on that a little bit. You see, if I go high, it gives me those white bars. I'm gonna pull back, maybe about 9 or so. My size is at 58. Doesn't really make a whole lot of difference. I'm gonna leave it there. And my contour, I'm gonna leave it at this one. If you're not on that one by default, you hit the drop down menu. I'm using this one right here in the corner. All right. And that is gonna take care of my satin. Next, I'm gonna add a color overlay. All right, so you click it, it goes to that right there. I'm gonna change my blending mode to color. All right, and that's gonna change the way that blending mode reacts to the other things that are already there. The color, I don't think I want a red. What do I want? I don't really know what I want. Ooh, kind of like that blue. There you go. I'm gonna use that blue. Darken up a little bit. There we go. All right, somewhere in there. That's fine. Use any color you want. Okay, my opacity is at 100. I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna add a gradient overlay. That's gonna give me some variation in my look. All right, so I add it. It does that because I'm set on the normal blending mode. If I change my blending mode to something different, what should I use? I'm gonna use linear burn. All right, you see I've got, dark. I'm lighter up here and darker down there. I'm gonna take my opacity, pick it from 100, and as I pull it down, it's gonna reveal more of what I have. Give me this nice gradient look to it. I'm sitting at like 17. My gradient is going black to white right now. So if I click, I didn't click on the drop down button. I actually clicked on the gradient bar, and that will give me my gradient editor that I can actually go in and change the colors of my gradient with more specific detail. I'm gonna leave the black side to black, and the white side, if I double click on the bottom, there's 2 bottom boxes. If I double click on one of them, it's gonna allow me to choose my own color. I'm gonna keep it over here, and I'm gonna choose a gray. The specific gray, I don't really know. I'm just gonna pick a gray. Sure, that looks like it's pretty good. There we go. All right, and I'm not giving you hex codes or anything like that because I want you to play with this and make it look the way you want it to look. All right, if you get that gray and you're like, I don't really like the way that worked, double click on it again, go in and change it. See what the next one looks like. The darker you go, the darker your image goes. Make it look the way you want it to look or the way you think it looks good. All right, because this is your image. So set my color. Say okay. All right. Check my settings. Gradient. My style is linear. 90. My scale. It's not gonna make a whole lot of difference. It's gonna lighten it a little bit depending on where you're going. I'm probably gonna actually take mine up a little bit to lighten it a little bit more. Say 131. There you go. And that is, yeah, that'll work. That is what I'm going to do for my background. My background is done. All right, I'm gonna hit OK. You see, I started off with just a white box. I really haven't done anything but adding layer styles to it, and this is what I have. All right. Next, we are going to add our text because we had this here. We've got our word. I just threw Halloween in there because it's Halloween time. You really could use whatever you want. And the cool thing is, since it is nothing but layer styles, you can come in and you can change this text even after you've already done it. I'll show you that later, but keep that in mind that you can change it up. So I'm going to go to my type tool. All right, I'm gonna set my color to white. I could just hit my default colors. I'm pressing the letter D and then hitting X to flip them around. If not, I could click in my tool options bar and choose the color I want. I want it pure white. All right, and I'm gonna click in here and I'm gonna type what I want to type. Well, first I want to. Well, I'm gonna use a font that I think everybody probably has. Use Impact. It's nice and bold and like that. I'm gonna say all caps. Boo. Yeah, there you go. All right. So I'm done with that. I don't care what size it is right now because it's Photoshop. I can, once I go to my move tool, I can move it where I want. Do transform. You can go edit, transform, scale. You do that, or just Command T. All right. I'm gonna scale it up. Remember, I don't recommend grabbing sides. Pretty much, I'm always well 99%, 90% of the time, I'm grabbing a corner. All right, I'm gonna click and hold, and as I drag, remember, if you're not holding your shift key, it's gonna skew and squish and distort. All right, but once you hold shift, it's gonna keep it in proportion. Now, as I'm also dragging, I'm holding shift, I'm also gonna hold down my option key, and that's gonna allow me to keep it in proportion and drag from the center. All right, so I'll drag that out, get it where I want it, I can move it. As long as I don't grab this center point, that's my origin or my anchor point, I can move it around, get it where I want it. And when I'm done, I have to tell the computer that I'm done transforming, or else it's not going to let me do much of anything else. I could either go to my tool options bar and click the checkbox, or I can just press the enter or return key on my keyboard. And there we go. All right. Next, now that I have my text, I'm just going to add some layer styles to it. So as you remember, a couple ways you can go to layer. Where is it? I don't forgot what it's called. I thought it was under no type layer. I don't know. I never go this way through it. I'll either go double click on my side, or I'll use my FX down here. Personally, I just double click over here, pull up my layer styles. All right. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a pattern overlay. So I'm gonna click on the word pattern overlay. All right. That's gonna put a pattern on it. Now it's already set to the last pattern I used. I don't want to use that same pattern. So I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna grab another pattern. Click on that one. And once you've clicked on one, you can just hit left and right. And it'll scroll you through the patterns that you're in. I don't really think I like any of them. Well, I'll try that one. It doesn't really matter because I can always come back and change it later. Okay. So I'm gonna choose that. Click off of it. Normal opacity of 100. My scale, I'm at 100. You could play around with your scale, depending on that's gonna change depending on what texture you use. You know, I'm leaving mine at 100. I think it looks pretty good. Liquid layer. All right. The next thing I'm gonna add a drop shadow to it. So go down to drop shadow. Click on the word. Multiply. My color should be set at black. It's not pure black. I'm gonna take it to black. All right. My opacity is at 75. I'm gonna bump that up all the way up to 100. My angle, 120 is fine. I'm gonna turn off use global light. All right. You'll see that makes a little difference later. My distance. You know what? Can't really see my shadow. Oh, I'm in multiple mode. So if I don't want to do this. I don't know. Maybe it's too much light in here. I'm gonna leave it at black. My distance, you can kind of see. You can see in your preview over here that your shadow is actually moving, based on your distance level that you do. My spread, I'm gonna take. I don't want it to sit on 0, so I'm gonna spread a little bit. My size, I'm at 21. And as you can see, as I move, you can see, like, if you're looking in these little areas here, that will black out because as I change stuff, I'm covering over that area. So my size, I'm gonna keep it pretty small. Do 10, something like that. All right. Sit it there and knock out shadow. It's all good. All right. Next, I'm gonna add an inner shadow. Inner shadow. All right, that's gonna add a shadow to the inside of my text. Change that blending mode to color burn. All right, and it burns in that color, gives me something nice and deep. My color should be set. I'm gonna set it to black, full black. Opacity, I'll bump it up so I get a nice crispy edge there. It looks crispy to me. I mean, it's really up to you how far you set it. But I'm gonna crisp mine out. Maybe I'll do like an 89. My angle, as I change my angle, you'll see it changes the direction that my shadow goes. The angle really is up to you. All right. I might do a 133. All right. But I am going to turn off my global light. See, it makes a little shift in the way your shadow sits. All right. My distance, you see as it goes there, that modifies how far that shadow comes in. I'm going to make mine probably really, really small. Just want a little hint of that shadow. All right. My choke is at 0. I'm going to leave it there. My size is at 21. I'm going to pop it back. Maybe about 15, 16. 16 looks good. My contour is good. My noise is good. There you go. Now we're going to add a outer glow. Where's my outer glow? Outer glow. Click on it. You see you got some glow there. All right. We're going to change the blending mode of this from screen. Let's try to lighten. No. Color dodge. Color dodge. There we go. So now you see it is a little brighter on the edges of what we have there, and what we're gonna change, make some changes to make it do that a little bit more. All right. You see, you change your opacity. You change it. It's kind of cool if you push it all the way up, but it's really up to you as far as you push it. Got mine about 86 right now. Remember, you can always come back and change it. My color, I don't want to use this yellow. My background is blue. Maybe I might stick in these blues to give it kind of just a glowy, kind of a frosty look. Maybe if I go to green. Green doesn't show up as well. I'm gonna stick with the blue, just because it kind of gives me that frosted look to it. So yeah, set it at blue, say okay. My technique, softer, leave it there. It's my spread, that is going to change how far out your outer glow will go. Take my spread, I'm on about a medium spread, out there maybe 30 or so. My size is going to change the edges of it. My spread will change the edge. You can't really see it. Normally, your spread is going to give you a fall off, a gradient, kind of a soft edge. But you know, your settings are going to change the way it looks. So right now I've got mine spread of about 27. Let me take that up. Do a little opposite. Maybe like that. I don't know. Who knows? That looks good for now. Contour, leave it there. Arrange, you know, I'm gonna push that up. Maybe not all the way, but a little bit. You see, that even changes how my spread and my size reacts. So it's really every option that you changes, you know, the look of what you have. All right, and my jitter, I'm gonna leave it alone. All right, I think I'm good with that. Next thing I'm gonna do is an inner glow. So I'm gonna find inner glow, click on it. For my inner glow, I'm gonna change it from screen. I'm gonna change it kind of like the way color dodge works with this. So color dodge, I'm gonna change my opacity. You know, you can just slide it around at first. The slower you slide, the more you're going to see the changes versus just going quick back and forth. You won't see it. Um, with my opacity, I'm at about 69. Looks good for now. My noise, I'm at 0, but my color, I don't like yellow. Yellow isn't working for me. So I'm gonna choose another color. These pinks. I know all my girl students are always like, use pink, Mr. Bostic. I might use pink. Maybe even a red. I don't know. Green. Ooh, green. I don't know. I use pink for all my female students. There you go. Pink. Um, so I got my color. My technique, all right, now I said it's softer. I'm going to change it to precise. All right, gives it a little bit of a different feel. My source is on edge. I'm going to leave it there. My choke, I don't think I want my choke very high, but I'm going to put it so it's not on 0. Right now I'm on like 2. And my size, I normally don't go too big on that. I'll take it down, you know, just an edge. Kind of gives it a chiseled edge. I'm at about a 9, 10, somewhere around there. My range, I'm at 50. Higher up, gives me a bit of a more chiseled look. Makes the darks in there pop out a little bit more. So I'm taking it up to like a 61. My jitter, I think that's fine. I think we are good with our inner glow. Next thing we're going to do is something that I use a lot. Bevel and emboss. All right. This is going to give you that 3-dimensional look. All right. So for my bevel and emboss, my style, I'm leaving it at inner bevel. My technique, it can be smooth. My depth, right now it's at 100. And depending on the size of your letters, is going to change what you want your depth to be. My depth, I'm going to use a depth. I'm at like 168. I think that's good for now. I can always come back and change it later. My direction is going up. I think I like up. Maybe move it down. My size is at 21. As you see, you change this, it's going to change what you got. I think for this, I'm going to go with kind of a small size. I'm at about 6. All right. And my soften, I'm leaving that at 0. Shading, my angle, it's all in what you're feeling. Each angle's gonna give it a different look. I might try just a straight up, straight down, maybe -90, maybe an angle. Maybe I want an angle. I think I want an angle. I kind of like that one. I'm sitting at about a positive 132. All right, but the angle you use is up to you. All right. My global light, I'm turning that off. See, it kind of changes the hardness of that shadow. And my altitude, probably try something small. Try 5, maybe 10. Okay, yeah, I like that. My gloss contour, I'm leaving alone. My highlight mode, I'm gonna change the mode of my highlight from screen to color dodge. All right, it's gonna just change those edges just a little bit. Feel free to play around with them, try different stuff, or just try stuff. All right, there's nothing wrong with playing. That's the best way to learn this program is to just play, to sit down and play with it. But I'm gonna keep mine at color dodge. My color, I'm gonna leave it at white. My opacity, probably move that. I like the kind of blown out look a little bit. Probably take it to like 70. All right. And my shadow mode, I'm gonna change it from multiply. I'm gonna put it also in color dodge. And change my color, I think. Let's see what my opacity is doing. Not giving me much right now. I think I'm gonna change this color from black. I don't think I like black when it comes to color dodge. I'm I'm sitting in the blues. Maybe I'll stick with the blues. I don't know. Darker blue give me pink. I think I'm gonna stick with blue. That'll work. We'll see what kind of changes it makes later on. Who knows? So yeah, my bevel and emboss. That's that. Now inside of bevel and emboss, you've got two other options. You've got contour and you have texture. All right. If I click on contour, all right, there's not a whole lot that you can do in here, but you see I've got different contour types, and I have a range that I can do on my contour. All right, I'm not gonna mess with that. I'm gonna leave it where it is. But texture, if I click on texture, you don't have a whole lot of options, but you do have options that will make a difference. My pattern, if I choose a different pattern, it's gonna modify what's going on, the look of what I got. I'm gonna change my library. I don't like this patterns. I'm gonna go to this rock pattern, and I'm gonna throw that in there. And let's see what I get there. All right. What do I like? I don't really like any of those. What do I have? I'm trying to use things that I think came with Photoshop, so I'm not using a bunch of stuff that you guys might not have. But like I said again, use anything. You know, look around, play with it, see what it looks like. This could work. Kind of like that. We'll go with it for now. Our scale, that's just going to change the scale of that effect on your type. I'm going to probably take mine back to it. I might take it up a little bit. 168 is good for me. My depth is going to change how deep basically the grooves are in your item. So pull mine back. I'm at positive 26. All right, and I'm gonna leave that like that. Next, I'm gonna add a satin. All right, there we go. We're getting something. My blending mode, I'm going to stick with that color dodge. All right. My color is set at black. I'm gonna try gray. No, do a white. White just blows it out. Don't think I like white. Then I'm gonna go with something a little darker. Keeping my grays. Yeah, we'll try that. Okay, my opacity is set at 50. And we'll pull that up a little bit. Not a lot, just a little bit. My angle, 90. See what 180 looks like. Maybe not. Try 0. Nope, don't really like that. Negative 90. Well, I kind of like that. We'll go with that for now. My distance is at 46. You see, as you change your distance, it's going to change the look of what you have. I'm kind of looking for this center section to be lighter than my top and my bottom. So it's looking about there at 69. My size, I'm gonna bring that down pretty low, about 7. And my contour, I think I'm gonna play with that. Mountains, no, not that one. You know, you can go through here and just check them all out, see what they look like. You know, the changes are subtle, but you'll be surprised some things that you do that are subtle now, once you add other layer styles on top of them, it makes huge differences. Right now I'm sitting on this one called Ring. Remember, if you put your cursor on anything, let it sit perfectly still for about 2 seconds or so, it'll tell you the name of that or what it does or give you some kind of information. But this one's Ring. I think I'm going to leave it at there. Turn off my invert. I think I'm gonna leave my invert on. I don't want it lighter in the middle. Turn on, smooth it out, and I think, yeah, I'm gonna stick with that for now. Who knows? Color overlay. All right, color overlay obviously is gonna put that color over my words. Um, Blending mode, I'm gonna change my blending mode to my color blending mode, just so it adds that color to it. Drop my opacity of the color. The lower your opacity, obviously, the less it's gonna change what you have. So I'm gonna say about 43. I don't like this red though. Greenish, blue and green, bright green, dark green. Yeah, maybe do a little dark green. What would purple look like? Yeah, don't want purple. Yellow, red. Nah, I think we'll stick with green. There we go. All right, green it is. Yeah, I think about that green. Work for now. All right. The next thing I'm going to add is a gradient overlay. All right. And what I'm doing, what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to show you that you can get you using all of the different layer styles and just playing with them, seeing what you can get. I don't recommend always using all the layer styles. Doesn't always work well. But for this, I want you guys to practice working with all these different layer styles and just playing with it and seeing how the different options will give you different things. All right, so I'm gonna add my gradient overlay. Ooh, that gives you something a little different. My blending mode is at normal. Let's do something in second version. Let's see. Linear burn. Ooh, kind of like linear burn. What color burn do? Oh, that's kind of cool too. Multiply, darken. I think I'm gonna do it multiply. Doesn't make it like deteriorate too much, but you still get your texture in there and stuff. So there we go. Maybe turn down the level of that multiply a little bit. I want it dark at the bottom, but not too dark. Sit at about 76 or so. My gradient, I'm going to change this gradient. So I'm clicking on the actual gradient, not the drop down. Right now, I've got black on one side and white on the other. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do 3 colors in my gradient. So this is how you add color. With these, you can grab these and you can slide them around. As you can see, as you move them, it changes the placement of your gradients. All right. I am going to leave my white over here. We'll put this black back over here, but I'm gonna change this black to white. So double click on the square, change this to pure white. All right. And I'm going to add another color into this gradient. As long as I keep my cursor underneath the bar and I just click one time, it's going to add me a box there. I'm going to take that box and I'm going to change it to black. Pure black. All right. And then I can play around with where that is. You know what? I kind of think I want to do black dark on the outsides. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just take this over. I don't want to pull it on top. It get kind of, it's hard to grab them. So I'm pull it close to it and just switch these 2 across. So put that one there and we'll leave this white in mode. I'm going to change this one to black also. You know what? I changed my mind. I'm not going to do that. You know, and that's okay. It's your image. Change your mind all you want. Do what you do. All right, boom. So that's my gradient. I'm gonna leave it at linear, align with layer. My angle. Let's play with that. It might get a little trippy for us. Boo. Nah. I think I like just the regular old color going down the center. All right, and what else we got here? Scale. That's gonna change the size of that gradient of how it acts. So I'm gonna take mine up just a little. I just want my edges to be white. Boo. There it is. My wow 137. All right. Remember, your numbers are gonna be different than mine, depending on how big your letters are. You know, the size of the letters is gonna make a difference in what you're gonna choose. Remember, there is no right or wrong. You just need to go in and play with it and try to get something that works for what you're trying to do. All right. Last but not least, I'm gonna add a stroke. All right. Stroke is the same as saying the outline. All right. Right now my outline is too thick. I'm gonna drag that down. Do something about that. I'm at about 5. My position right now is outside. I'm gonna change it to center, I think. All right, give me a little different. You can see if you click on inside, see what it looks like. If you like that look, go with it. If not, use something else. Right now, I think I'm gonna stick on center. My blending mode is set to normal. That's cool with me. Opacity 100. If I pull that down, you kind of start seeing some of the background because your opacity means transparency, if you can see through it or not. So bring my opacity down a little bit. I don't want it all the way down. But for my fill type, right now the stroke is made up of a color. And I'm going to change that. I'm going to change it to a pattern. All right. And what pattern I'm going to use, I don't know. I'm just clicking on one, and I'm just using my arrow keys. Ooh, kind of like that one. And it just takes me through it. You know, it's subtle, but it makes a difference. You know, the texture you use, the pattern that you use will make a difference in your look. I think I liked it. This second one. Liked it. I think I like the second one. Second or third. Either one. There you go. Second one. I think it looks good. All right. My scale, that's up to you as you move it. You know, it's just gonna, looks like I got little jitters walking around on my marching ants. There you go. You know, check your scale. Doesn't really matter. All right. It is what it is. And I've used them all. Made something, you know. Hit OK. Boo. There's my boo. All right. Now, the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a shadow on my last one. Notice I've got this shadow coming here. It looks like a light is like beaming up on the shadow. All right. So I've got my boo. What I'm actually going to do is I'm gonna duplicate my layer. All right. So I've got this boo layer here. I could duplicate it. There's a couple ways you can do it. You can go to your layer. Now the cool thing about your menu bar is Photoshop. I mean, the guys at Adobe, guys and girls at Adobe, we're pretty smart. If you think about what it is you're trying to do, you can look at your menus and figure out which one you're going to deal with. I'm trying to duplicate a layer. So if I look at the names of my menus, I can pretty much guess which menu I'm going to find to allow me to duplicate a layer. So I'm dealing with a layer. There's a layer menu. I'm not going to go to 3D menu to duplicate a layer. I'm going to go to layer menu. I can go layer, duplicate layer, and as long as that layer is selected, if I hit duplicate layer, it's going to give me another one. Give me name boo copy, the copy of boo. There it is. Now I have 2 of that exact same layer sitting on top of each other. All right. Now I'm just going to Command Z, undo that because I want them sitting directly where they are. All right. Now comes in with all the same layer styles as the first one did. I don't want that. I'm going to clear that off. If I hold down Control, since I'm using the Mac, hold Control and click on the layer, I'll get these options, and I want to say clear layer styles. All right. That's going to take me right back to just the plain white letters, which is what I want for right now. What I want to do now is I am going to go back into my layer. Excuse me, it's late. I'm going to go back into my layers and go into my my layer styles. All right. on this first one, this is something that a lot of people don't normally mess with. On my blending options, what I can do is this thing here under advanced blending. I've got fill opacity. That is how the fill opacity is how much you see of the actual fill contents. Right now it's at 100%, so I see that pure white. If I take this fill opacity down to nothing, I see nothing. All right, there's no fill there, and right now you don't see anything because there's no fill, there's no stroke, there's nothing there. All right, so drop that down, drop my fill down to nothing, and it's gonna allow me to do a kind of cool little effect here. Now that I've got that there, I'm gonna add a drop shadow. All right, and you see that drop shadow popped up in there. All right, even though there's nothing in it, you can still get the stuff outside of it. All right, so I'm gonna hit my drop shadow, set on multiply. My color, I think it's fine. Um, Opacity, it is what it is. The less opacity, the less of it you're gonna see. All right, so I'm gonna keep it, 73. That'll work. My angle, that just changes the direction that I want that shadow to go. All right. I think on my other one I did like straight down or straight up. All right. Sure. It's like kind of looks like when you take the flashlight and you stick it down by your chin, putting it up, and you get the shadows or whatever. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna take off my global light. Or not. I don't really like that. I think I like it with it on. There we go. Distance, you can set that if I want it. Mine is way up there. I got the light way away from me, but you set it to where you want it. I kind of like that distance. I'm at like 30. My spread is gonna change that edge, all right, in size. So you're gonna set it to something that you think looks good. All right. Size. So it's a little bit smaller. Give me a harder edge. Just change that. Something like that, maybe. I don't know. There you go. It's late. We're gonna power through this. So set my size, my contours there. Noise. I don't really want a lot of noise. You can add noise, and it's just gonna, add some noise. I mean, it is what it is. I might add a little bit of noise there, and that's really it, folks. So I say, okay, boom, I've got my thing, my image. Now the cool thing is, it's all still editable. I mean, I've got this stuff here. I could come back to my boo. If I double click on the word effects, pulls back up my layer styles. I could go in and I could change all that stuff. What if, let's see something. Like my inner glow, I got this pink around this edge. Maybe I don't want it pink. I'll change it to something else. Maybe make it red. And with the different combinations of what I've got, that red actually looks kind of yellow. Go in and play with it. Green, really, really bright green, yellow, something, whatever. Play with it. Play around. Try different stuff. And I don't know how I end up back up on that pink. But, play around with it. Try some stuff. Remember, the settings that I set, I'm just guessing. I'm just going through and playing with it. I just want you to play. Okay? Stroke, change your pattern, try using a gradient, whatever. Color to me is kind of boring, but if you like it, go with it. Whatever. So that rather doesn't really look that bad. Okay? So, don't be afraid to play. It is what it is. It's all editable. My word here, if I go to my type tool, I'm pressing the letter T. I'm on my boo. I can click it, select all, Command A. Maybe I want it to say Bostic. All right. Now for that layer, for some reason I changed that one, but it's okay. So if you're gonna change it, you gotta change them both to be the same. So I changed that one. I'll come down to this one here. Am I set on? No, I'm not. That happens sometimes. It's hard to grab them. So what I do is I just hide it grab this one because you can't edit something that's hidden. So I'll try some changes to Bostik. Make that one visible again. Boom. I now have a new word using the same settings that I had. So play with this, customize it, make it look the way you want it to look. But remember to play. That is the important thing. That is a lesson that I want you to learn, is just play with it. The more you play, the more you learn. This is Mr. Bostik signing off. Have fun.